Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. Well, we had a huge rut in the equity market yesterday late in the morning, and everybody's confused and doesn't know what's going on. It's really something. My camera's messed up. You know what? I'm always trying to get like the perfect start. I always mess it up a little bit. But anyways, it's a very interesting market to me because nobody knows what's going on. And I can only explain it as a flash crash. Except for that, there's plenty of liquidity out there right now. Well, they're moving around a little bit here ahead of, let's see here. What do we got? Canadian retail sales. We don't have a whole lot of news today, do we? We don't have a whole lot of news today, do we? No, we do not. Just Canadian stuff. But we got manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI at 9:45 Eastern Time, existing home sales, and a bunch of Fed members speaking. In fact, headlines on CNBC right now. Expectations for a rate cut will fade as coronavirus fear eases, says Fed's James Bullard. Federal Reserve thinks low rates have had only a quote-unquote modest impact on stock market prices. Well, okay. I mean, I would say that too, but the market seems to really care. The market would disagree with them. With us. The market seems to think that interest rate policy is all that matters and the spigot is on. That's what they think. All right. Win. Good morning, Asher's father and speculator Seth. Did the baby sleep well? What's on the... Oh, he slept so terrible. I think he was up from like 2:30 to 5. I'm not even joking. I don't know what his deal was, but he was like... He had gas or something. Anyways, let's go to the charts. So there's ZB. So here, when we were up here yesterday, it was like, whoa, this is a big move. And then look at overnight. Oh, good grief, guys. Have enough bonds? Really? It's just insane. Okay, here's the E-mini. So here, we were doing okay. Okay, we're a little bit off of highs. And then, gadoosh. Like literally, in the course of 30 minutes, down 50 points. Insane. But they recovered pretty much all of it and then bounced lower. Well, not lower, but, you know, they're consolidating in here. So maybe there's going to be some more downside today. I don't know. Wynn says, I remember those days. Hey, why is it not reading out your messages? Cannot find live. Okay. Hold on a second. Terminate bomb job. Okay. Now it should catch your messages. Try again, Win. Oh, look, it sees them. There we go.
Winston's mom says I remember those days.
Cool. Anyways, let's zoom out here. I just lost my anchor. Okay. So there's still a point of control over here at 33.37 that we could go and get. By the way, with this market route that we had here, it's not like the end of the world. Because we're at the highs and not a whole lot of technical damage was done to the chart. But that might also mean...
Winston's mom says, wah, daddy, I'm hungry. Where is mommy? Wah.
Oh, yeah, that is exactly what happens. That is exactly what happens. So he's chilled out a little bit. because she's been force feeding him. like she'll hold him on one boob and he'll eat the boob after like, you know, a really long time, but he keeps falling asleep when he's eating. And then it's like he doesn't care about the other boobs. So, but she's like, because she went to an appointment and apparently he didn't gain enough weight. So now she's like, nope, you're getting the other one. Wake up, slapping him in the face. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is. But whenever I'm holding him, yeah, he'll start doing the thing like he's gonna suck my boob. And he like really wants to be like, you gotta hold him tight or he starts to be like, eh. So, well, I don't have news.
Winston's mom says, will she do a pacifier? I had to stop breastfeeding because my son lost weight and the Air Force didn't encourage their airmen to nurse babies. We went to formula eventually.
Really? Well, I think that she'll make enough, but he does do binkies. He's not really a huge fan of it. He always spits it out. Oh, by the way, in my analysis, I kind of missed something. Here's Bitcoin. Yesterday when we had the big market rout, they actually sold after everything else did, but only a teeny tiny little bit, and then it went sideways, and now we're up a little bit, but that was a really interesting, you know, of all of the market panics, let's say, of all of the risk off events that matter, the one yesterday I think was really important, and for Bitcoin to have initially sold off on that is very telling. Because that is the move that you would expect people to move into Bitcoin. And I, you know, maybe we're playing a little bit of confirmation bias because we have had times where the markets went down and Bitcoin went up. But I think that that's just because people are playing it that way. I think that in this particular situation, people were genuinely panicked and Bitcoin did not behave correctly. So it's a big tell. I would keep an eye on that one. Plus, Bitcoin is already like too high. But you know what? Treasuries are already too high, in my opinion. I mean, how high can they go? I don't know. I don't think I have enough experience to say what's going to happen because it's just going. It's just going. Well, I mean, I think that we should have some good action today.
Uzi Knesset says, good morrow.
Good morrow. Yeah, good morrow. The day after yesterday. It was crazy. I'm disappointed that I missed that huge move. Those are my favorite, man. Like a flash crash in the E-mini, man. I'll ride that all the way down and get out of the bottom. I've done it many times. I tend to do well on those moves. Sometimes I totally muck it up, but I think that we could get some good trades today. Even though there's not, well,
Uzi Knesset says, I saw it, took video and shared with some friends. It was nutty lol.
You saw it.
Winston's mom says, I am reading an article on MarketWatch about Reddit. On Reddit's Wall Street Bets board, where risk on never seems go off, a contributor going by the NSFW name of closeth F ***** ing light. Heard this?
I read that every day, man. So, well, hold on a second. I need to. So my mouse anchor fell on the floor. I need to pick it up. Hold on.
Uzi Knesset says, yeah, my data feed went nuts and all the indices just started raining down. It was crazy.
I moved it too much and it fell, and I can feel the cord pulling my mouse, and it's annoying. Okay.
Winston's mom says, massive turnaround play. Sounds ominous.
Well, so the thing that's been going on Wall Street Bets lately is that, or one of the memes, let's say. One of the memes is BTFD, which is every time that the stock market moves down, you buy the effing dip. Because for the past 10 years, that's what's happened, is everybody's like, oh no, this is finally it. It's all going to fall apart now. And then it doesn't. And if you bought the dip, you make bank. So, of course, they're saying that. But what has been going on Wall Street Bets lately is that they caught on to the fact that when there is call volume in a stock, the robots start buying it. Does that make sense? When a lot of people are buying calls, which is an option to buy a stock at a certain price, when the robots see call option activity, they start buying that stock. And they do that, one, because they're expecting a move.
Mom says makes sense so far.
But also, two, because they have to hedge themselves. Like, the robot says, okay, he wants to buy the stock from me. That means that I have to cover myself, I have to own the stock in order to cover it. So what they do is they buy the stock and then they sell call options against that stock and try and make money off of the time expiration of that, which is to mean that when the option expires, it'll expire worthless if it's within a certain range. And so they're trying to make the money off of that by buying the stock and selling the calls against it. Okay. Well, the Wall Street Bets guys caught on to this. So what they've been doing is they've been saying, okay, this is the hot new stock, everybody, it's going to the moon. And they all buy call options in it and make money on it and then dump it on the robots. So they have in effect been manipulating the robots. And it is glorious and so satisfying to see, in my opinion, because I really like, this is the thing that I've been saying with the robots from the beginning is it seems like that they're like impervious, but they're not. They have biases too. And when humans figure out the chinks in those armor, they're going to come in and exploit them. And that's exactly what's happening. So that's kind of why they're paying attention to Wall Street Bets lately, because they've been moving the market.
Pension Investment Fund, GPIF, the largest public pension fund in the world, with over $1.5 trillion worth of assets or currency hedging by buying U.S. treasuries.
That could explain the treasuries versus the JPY. That it could explain why the JPY is going down and the treasuries keep buying up. And, frankly, the amount of volume that we've seen on some of these icebergs suggests a bank, a big player. I mean, those guys buying yesterday at around 10 o'clock Eastern time before the move, they were big, weren't they? Was it the Bank of Japan? Could be. Thanks for sharing that, Rick D. Do you have a link for that? If you have a link for that, post it in the Discord. Sorry, I keep blowing on the microphone. I really need to get a pop filter for this, or a different microphone.
Uzi Knesset says huge in ZB. All bid action too. Low market order activity.
Yeah. And then the offers pull and it ticks up, right? Well, there's an iceberg at 23.5, so somebody's taking some profits. There was a little bit of, I don't know what to call it. There was a little bit of weirdness here when they tried ticking up at 23.5. So looks like they're pulling back a bit.
Rick D says posted above Seth.
If you post it in YouTube, it won't show it to me. It'll look like you posted it, but it won't post the link. You either have to put spaces around the periods, or you have to put it in the Discord channel.
Winston's mom says okay, found an article in The Atlantic discussing Jeff Donovan and Nanex, and then I found something on a quantitative trading forum, Nuclear Finance.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Winston's mom says Japan just told everyone to stay inside.
Did they really? Has Japan been infected with coronavirus? Is that what's going on? Oh my gosh, this just reminds me. I was doing a thing about like coronavirus is more deadly to certain races. Forbes Dizzle, thank you. Oh wow. Okay, so it's a Forbes article. Let's read. Even with global stocks.
Rick D says send it to you in Discord.
Even with global stocks reaching new highs almost daily, the money flowing into global bond markets and falling yields has been the more surprising fact this year as global central banks cut rates in the face of coronavirus or flood markets with liquidity. Much of the cash is finding its way into bonds all around the world despite low yields and robust economic growth. Watching decisions of certain large participants provide some clues to what might be going on. A highly watched participant in the market is Japan's government pension investment fund, the largest public pension fund in the world with over 1.5 trillion worth of assets. This fund invests globally and late last year announced that it would reclassify currency hedged foreign bonds as domestic bonds. By currency hedging, negatively yielding European bonds are turned into positively yielding bonds for the duration of the currency hedge, which is usually much shorter than the maturity of the bonds. Let me read that again. By currency hedging, negatively yielding European bonds are turned into positively yielding bonds for the duration of the currency hedge. Okay, so they are selling European bonds and buying US bonds like everybody else. So, for example, as I wrote about last year, this move could justify the buying of larger
Donovan
quantities.
said look at the stubby triangles chart. It shows high quotes being made and then immediately followed by a stub order of 1 cent, basically cancelled in most contexts.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Winston's mom says the quote is then remade at a lower price and followed with another stub quote. This cycle happened at the rate of 380 quotes a second.
Wow. Interesting. So we'll see stuff like that. Like sometimes, and I don't know how they do it, but sometimes I will start seeing a ton of orders show up in one of the
Winston's
markets,
mom
and you
says I
can't
have
even
no
see it on
idea
the
what I
DOM.
just typed, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, so like, remember how I have a thing where every time that somebody stacks or pulls from one of these columns, it increases the, well, it moves this chart, right? So every time somebody stacks or pulls, this is the aggregate number of stacks versus the pulls. So when I see big tails or a big block of pulling, then I know usually they moved up because the offer's all pulled. Okay. Well, this one right here is the level 2 activity compared to the number of orders. You can see here in this particular spot, there was a lot of activity, but the volume didn't actually come in. So they were trying to make something happen there up at the top and they weren't able to get it to go, and then they gave up. So you're getting it again. If it's in the thousands, then it could be significant. See how they're trying to squeeze it. But the thing that I find so interesting about it is that when I look at the DOM, I don't necessarily see that. Okay, look, they made it go bid. So that might have been a significant take. That might hold.
Block buy.
Essentially. Well, holy shit. See what I'm fucking talking about, guys? Interesting, isn't it? And a stop run there. Look at that. 6,000, 5,000. Foreign bond spree probably pushed ailing yen. This is definitely what's going down. But the thing that's interesting is that, yeah, Alligator's pointing out, for a few days, Fed speak, don't expect a cut next quarter, says Bostic. So the world's all going to crap. They all seem to think that, well, they're acting like that the bonds, that there's going to be a cut, and the Fed keeps saying, no, we're not going to. Okay, keep reading. So, for example, as I wrote about this last year, this move could justify the buying of larger quantities of negative yielding European bonds on the basis of yields, since they could now be classified as domestic Japanese bonds. According to various reports from dealers in January of 2020, foreign pension funds purchased a record high of almost $19 billion of unhedged foreign bonds. That move up was too much. How do I'm going to type this. That trade right there, probably from 25, good for at least 2 to 4 ticks. Okay. According to various reports from dealers in January of 2020, foreign pension funds purchased a record high of $19 billion unhedged foreign bonds. Estimates are that this week GPIF will be changing its foreign bond asset allocation to 25% of its holdings, which would require the purchase of 6 times almost 12 trillion yen worth of unhedged bonds over time. This is a very large number indeed and could be consequential for the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. Let's dig into this a bit. The Japanese government is printing money as part of an almost 2-decade-long monetary stimulus program. This started with the zero interest rate policy in 1998 and then Abenomics in 2012, or quantitative and qualitative easing. And then NIRP, or negative interest rate policy, and yield curve targeting, which has expanded the balance sheet of the Bank of Japan over $5 trillion. As a consequence, in Japan, 2 to 10-year yields are negative, and 30-year bond yields are a measly spot 4. On the other hand, due to negative deposit rates in Europe, a Japanese investor now has a currency hedged yield of about negative spot 4.4 on 2-year German bonds and spot 3.4 on 30-year German bonds. Investing in Italy on a currency hedged basis results for a Japanese investor results in zero yield for 2 years and a little over 2% for 30 years. With all the political and credit risk of Italy that comes with it, the Japanese are on a demographic trend and elderly citizens need guaranteed yield for retirement. Given the alternatives, the same Japanese investor gets 1.4% on a 2-year treasury on a currency unhedged basis.
Winston's mom says Japanese invasion money, officially known as Southern Development Bank notes.
For a US 30-year treasury bond, the Japanese investor gets a yield of about 2% on a currency unhedged basis and only about 0.05 on a currency hedged basis. Even without taking any bond duration risk, the 3-month T-bill unhedged yields in the US is almost 1.6, which should look darn good in comparison to negative European yields, as long as currency risk can be managed. The decision facing a large public pension, which looks for yield today, is to make a balanced choice between taking currency risk by investing in the US on an unhedged basis or taking no currency risk, but taking bond price or duration risk by investing in European bonds. It is my opinion that as long as the world is willing to let Japan print money and buy foreign assets, the currency risk ought to be minimal. For now, the currency options market seems to agree, as the implied volatility in the US dollar to Japanese yen exchange rate has crashed to a 2-decade low. Thus, with no currency risk, investing in the US bond market will likely be the preferred investment destination for market participants going forward. In other words, they're going to keep buying. To see this simply, let us imagine an extreme scenario. Assume that all US bonds were trading at exactly zero yield, then a foreign pension with access to printing press could simply buy a ladder of treasury bonds with maturities from a few months to a few decades. As short as bonds mature, they would use more freely available cash to extend the bond ladder. By doing this, the foreign investor has created a zero coupon ladder where the coupon is simply the proceeds from the maturing bonds. If the yield is positive, as it actually happens to be in the US, then the total yield on the ladder is even more valuable than the zero coupon ladder. Okay. So I didn't completely understand all that bit, but that sounds like they're going to buy it. Like they have a reason to buy it because it's low risk to them. There are currency risks. If the yen weakens substantially, then this would require more yen in order to maintain the ladder. However, from a public welfare perspective, a weakening yen is positive for the Japanese export sector, and for a nation that relies heavily on trade, this would likely be a positive. On the other hand, if the yen were to strengthen substantially, a larger ladder of US Treasury bonds could be constructed with the same amount of yen, and the buying of dollars for yen would likely slow down, if not stop, any yen appreciation. As long as politics allows it, the yen's appreciation will be quote unquote managed. In other words, given implicit access to the benefits of the yen printing press, the GPIF's action to move towards currency unhedged bonds is likely to be very positive for the US Treasury bond market. In the short run, the willingness of market participants to allow Japan to run a very high debt to GDP ratio without penalizing the currency leads to this state of affairs as being the path of least resistance. And yes, let's not forget that it allows the US to have a willing buyer
Winston's
of its
mom
debt.
says Paul Krugman said this old joke applies. A driver runs over a pedestrian, who is left lying in the road behind his car. He looks back and says, "I am so sorry, let me undo the damage."
That's funny.
Winston's mom says and proceeds to back up his car, running over the pedestrian a second time. Japan's economic managers are acting like that driver. Quote. Winston's mom says they do not realize that 1997 is not 1987, and that doing the opposite of what they did then only compounds the country's problems.
I'm actually surprised to hear him say that because I would think that he would be in favor of, forever forever expanding the balance sheet like Japan is doing. Okay.
Winston's mom says that's from an article he wrote for MIT.
How long ago was that? If there is a loser, and if so, who is it? My view is that the largest beneficiaries of currency hedged bond buying so far have been European bond markets, which have been able to get away with offering
Rick D
low
says
negative
the second
yields.
article one sent in Discord says the same but maybe more simplified if you want to read Seth.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. Which have been able to get away with offering low and negative yields due to the currency hedging yield pickup. If the reallocation towards unhedged US bonds occurs as I expect it to, the US dollar would likely be the biggest beneficiary, and the euro and its sibling low-yielding currencies in their bond markets would be the biggest losers, yes. Hence, the euro USD almost moving down to parity so far. When was this written? February 19th. This man is a genius, because he predicted all of this stuff happening before it happened. 3 days ago. Wow. Hey. If negative yields cannot be turned into positive yields via financial engineering, as has recently done via financial alchemy, someone else has to be willing to step up to purchase European bonds. With very little prospect of earning much yield from them, these private buyers might be hard to find. Public buyers like the ECB might have to continue to be the buyers of last resort. The question for every investor is whether central banks can permanently keep bond markets propped up. The fate of the bond markets, and by extension, most risky assets that have been the beneficiary of low yields, depends on the answer. In other words, when the buying runs out and the bond markets start moving back down, it's going to be a complete flush. And who is going to get hurt? Retirees. This is very much not the outlook that Jeffrey Gunlatch had at the beginning of the year, because he felt that the path of least resistance was down, and that did not happen because of this, essentially. Okay. 650. I don't think that they're going to move a whole lot still, even though we had that crazy move. The bonds are acting like we could still trend. So that was very useful. I wish that I had read that article 3 days ago. Can't take a trade in the ZB yet. Iran confirms more cases from coronavirus. But this is the bigger thing, is that the move that we're having in bonds is not necessarily because of coronavirus as we all assumed. It is the aggregate effect of negative interest rates around the world, and the US not having negative interest rates is a bigger factor. Okay, Larry Kudlow is on TV right now. China needs US consumer goods. Live Squawk, just more from Bosick. He has no impulse to do anything with our
Winston's
current
mom
policy
says Jeffrey
stance.
Gundlach has a webcast called Just Markets.
Yes. So I think that Jeffrey Gundlach is probably the most authoritative voice in bond markets right now. Doesn't mean that he's right about everything, but he is the most authoritative voice at this moment. It's a tough spot to be in, though, right? So remember that used to be Mohammed El Aran when he was head of PIMCO, and he said that QE would be really bad, and they did not invest properly based off of QE and got their absolute lunch eaten by BlackRock. And he then had to step down, and people don't pay attention as much to what he says, even though he definitely knows what he's talking about. He tweets from time to time. But Jeffrey Gundlach, he is the bond king, so they say. So they say. But so far this year, I wonder how his fund is doing.
Winston's mom says he is close to me in ages. We would have been seniors in high school together.
There you go. I'm wondering if his fund, if he adjusted and his fund is still doing well. I'm sure we will find out shortly, though. Yeah. So when though, you didn't tell me that article from Paul where he was talking about Japan invasion money. When was that? What was the article released? Did ECB speakers and Fed speakers have a conference call on the virus? Their remarks on the virus have shifted from too soon to say anything about the impact to it will only be a temporary blip. Okay, so that's what we needed to look into.
Winston's mom says I will see if I can find a date. I think it's very old and didn't have a header.
So I don't see. I'm gonna have to do DuckDuckGo because we're like in conspiracy theory territory here. Yes, this is where it is. See, but can they verify that?
Winston's mom says I am going to link the article in the next comment.
uvdisinfo.eu. This is interesting. But how do they, so the question was, is the coronavirus a genetic weapon designed to target exclusively Mongoloids? The events in China are beneficial for the current U.S. administration, which seeks to bring Beijing to its knees in a strange way. The start of the epidemic coincided with the final part of the negotiations between China and the United States on a trade agreement. Disproof. Conspiracy theory. This is a pro-Kremlin narrative about the China coronavirus. Prove that. In response to the outbreak of the coronavirus, Chinese authorities have placed more than a dozen cities under quarantine, blah, 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 blah. There's no evidence to suggest it was developed artificially. Conspiracy theory also refers to recurring pro-Kremlin disinformation narratives about U.S. military biological labs circling Russia. Okay. Hmm. So that didn't really answer my question. But I must assume based off of that the answer is that the claim that the coronavirus targets exclusively mongoloids is bullshit. Where did I read that? Nope. You don't even get any other web hits off of it. That's super interesting. Well, whatever. No one hit 24, and Alligator says, just ask. And this is similar to what we got yesterday.
Winston's
There's a
mom
big
says,
bid down
Seth,
there.
wait, I have heard that YouTube is demonetizing people for even saying the virus word that begins with C. Be very careful until I can vet this rumor.
Really? No, we've talked plenty about the coronavirus.
Winston's mom says 16 watching now. Please hit like and don't use the C word.
We've talked plenty about the coronavirus in the past few weeks. But I don't understand why, but as soon as this came about, I was seeing conspiracy theory nonsense about it.
Uzi Knesset says YouTube demonetizes everything that isn't Logan Paul lol.
Particularly this thing that it's an engineered weapon. I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, if it was okay, let me back up. The theory is that I see most commonly is that the Chinese were developing it and it broke out accidentally. Okay. If that happened, the US government would know by now. They would be able to trace the genes of it back, and they would know because it
Ace
came from
Trades
them.
says morning.
Right?
Winston's mom says speculator Seth thousands of accounts a day. Hard to find all of them. Just stay on the safe side and use an agreed upon code word for the sick.
She wants me to use a code word for the coronavirus. I'm not going to do it. My opinion is that I love this stream.
Winston's mom says good morning Ace Trades and honorary uncle to an Asher.
Yes. Anyways, I love this stream and I love all of you. And I'm really happy with the community that we have. And I would like to grow it. But if I'm not going to, censor myself or do any of that in order to do so. So all I'm going to say, what I'm going to say, and we have the community that allows us to do that. We're going to talk about what we need because we don't have to be huge. So, yeah, I do not think that the coronavirus was a genetically engineered virus that escaped from a Chinese lab. That doesn't make any sense. The US government would certainly call them out on it already. Now, the other option is that the US government created it. But then if the US government created it, wouldn't the Chinese be saying something at this point? It's just like that. It's the whole thing doesn't make any sense. It's a dumb conspiracy theory. And I don't understand where it's coming from. Who benefits from this nonsense? I don't understand. Okay, we're getting that big stack again. So they had a big stack on the bottom, and now it's on the top. 25. I still don't see anything significant in the E-mini. It was just reminded because we saw Ace in there. Okay, down tick at 24.5. They took 24 easily. Easily. Let's see if this trade works. I'm testing out a theory here. U.S. White House advisor Kudlow says India should lower investment barriers. Okay. You know, I have to say, have a lot of Indian friends. I really like India. If I was going to invest in a country, I think it would be India. 1862 stacked at 24 now. Not a lot of orders going through.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Uzi Knesset says invest in India so they can open more scam call centers.
Right.
Uzi Knesset says the 400,000 they have now is too few.
I've been getting scam calls from Indians lately. They're like, "Yes, hello, sir. You have a Medicare plan or what?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You run around trying to scam people, asking if they own a Medicare plan? Like, what percentage of people actually even have that? It seems like a poor, but maybe they call a lot of people until they find somebody old enough with a Medicare plan, and then they scam. I don't know. I don't know."
Winston's mom says I agree. I like the Indian people, prefer Vedic astrology to Western tropical and have several young friends who attend university and live in India. I would go to northern India over southern.
Why northern over southern?
Ace Trade says I tell them I have to put them on hold while I barbecue a cow.
You're so mean. Oh gosh, Ace. Jeez. Okay, so that move down, it was much more severe in the ZB. So the theory I'm testing here, I didn't know if I was going to get filled. The theory that I was testing there is that there was a real step there at 24. And since we saw some stops on the move up, I suspect that the pressure is up. And so I'm looking for a place where they try to make it look like it's failing and you have a good short. So I took the opposite there on
Ace Trade
that.
says looking at a short 3,355.50.
Okay. What's going on here? Interesting. So if I get that.
Winston's mom says India is pretty much like the States. They have 27 as opposed to our 50 in the northern part of India has the same spiritual religious history I study. They have seasons and mountains and water.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reason that I like India so much is those people believe in freedom. They have their problems for sure, but those people believe in freedom very strongly. In fact, I would dare say more strongly than some Americans these days. And I really admire that. Every year when I worked for Goldman Sachs, they would put on a thing for us on Indian Independence
Winston's mom
Day.
says Ace Trades I really love barbecue and you just reminded me why I will never be vegan.
and I just admired them so much when they talked about the Indian independence. The country has a lot of problems right now, but I believe that in the long run, they will overcome those issues because they are built on a strong ideological foundation. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit of a stack at 23 now. So he's definitely fiddling around with it here. I'm not getting filled on my order in the ES. Oh, I did that just there. Cool. All right. some European PMI signals. Okay, so let's just keep track. Oh man, that's not
Ace
good.
Trade says garbage trade. Get
Garbage
out.
trade. Yeah. Out, out, out. Okay. It even on my I got a little bit of better of a spot and I got stopped out.
Winston's mom says in Vedic astrology, I fall into the Dhanishta Nakashatra and that means I have 8 goddesses to please and this bestows wealth but only if I am good and if I am pleased. Difficult aspect, lol.
And they're really turning there. This could break out of the hourly range in the E-mini. Let's see if they get above 33.58.50. Saudis and Russians disagree over coronavirus impact on
Ace
oil
Trade
demand.
says at Winston's mom cool story.
So OPEC is fighting. Have we had any moves in CL today? Oh, they've been moving higher. Oh, no, wait. I need to change it because we need to be on. Oh, no, we're on the 03. My chart doesn't look right, though. Let's just double check to make sure that I don't need to. Now it does say that I need to roll over. Okay. Okay, so now I can see that they're down over $1 today in oil. In the oil. Hmm.
Ace Trade says do you ever trade CL, Seth?
No way. No way, but a lot of the people here in the
Winston's
channel
mom
would pay
says Ace
attention to
Trades
it.
I am supposed to play the drum and flute, be very musical and dance beautifully. I do not do any of this but I wish I could.
Oil scares me, frankly. Okay, some liquidity fooling around here in the 10-year. Man,
Ace
I need
Trade
to blow
says
my
at
nose.
Winston's mom you are perfect for you. Stop trying to match what someone imagined for others.
Well, that didn't help. I still feel like I got something jammed up there.
Winston's mom says, oil that is, black gold, Texas tea. Well the first thing you know OL Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. Winston's mom says, so they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly.
Oh, I didn't know what that was about until you said that. Okay, so now they're hitting into 23.
Ace Trades says Hills that is.
ES is kind of fighting here.
Ace Trades says movie stars, swimming pools.
It's so close. I don't think I can take it.
Winston's mom says,
But,
do you know this old TV show? The Beverly Hillbillies great show.
Yeah, I remember watching that. That tick down 23. So 23.5 looked really great for a while. Asian traders are bracing for more volatility as the coronavirus spreads outside China. Okay, E-mini takes another step up there. So that was exactly what I was
Winston's
worried
mom
about.
says Ace trades Irene Ryan played Granny and even out of character, she looked old. She was my age when she played Granny. 60 is not the same as when I was growing up, thank goodness.
She looked old. I didn't know to say it that way. That was funny. Okay, well, this one's not working out.
Miguel Zapata says hi Seth, good morning. Seth, can I ask you if you have into your pay channel a lot of videos about NinjaTrader programming? I'm looking to make some indicator on NinjaTrader.
Yeah, so
Ace
I
Trade
have
says itching for a long on S.
if you go on to, the channel page, I have some lists and there's a couple of videos about NinjaTrader programming. And then if you hit me up on Discord, I'm more than happy to help you. If you really have a good idea of what you want to make. Oh, that reminds me. Need to figure out how to T clock. Forgot the name of that thing and somebody was asking.
Miguel Zapata says okay Thanax. Miguel Zapata says okay thanks.
Well, I'm happy that I got out of that trade where I did. E-mini going there. They did break the hourly high. Everything turned green. Yeah. I think that we had a good trade there, Ace. It just, that was just, sometimes that happens.
Ace Trade says Seth, what is your most common treasury product? 10 ZB?
The ZN. The ZN is definitely the one that I trade the most. Because you're easier to hold a spot and read the order flow in the 10-year. It's kind of interesting. If you're thinking about looking at it, I have found that if you're going to use some sort of technical analysis, especially like the volume profile kind of stuff, or like swing trading kinds of things, that they tend to work on the 30-year better.
Winston's mom says speculator Seth, can you read economic formula like this one? U equals lane C1 plus D lane C2 plus D2 lane C3 plus dot. It's from the MIT article Paul Krugman
I'd have to know. I'd have to
Reading this
know
is
what
like
those
looking at
variables
Braille.
mean. I'd have to know what those different variables mean, but it doesn't look like anything too complicated. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that Paul Krugman does wouldn't be too useful to us. Okay, so now they're back to 22.
Ace Trade says I've got it up now. Now that I have that fancy indicator, let's test it on ZN. 0320, right?
0320. Oh, right. H20, yeah. March 2020 contract, yes. Yeah. So we're at 131, 22 half. Oh, he's got the fancy indicator. So he was telling me about this thing that somebody was showing him that kind of gives you a long or a short signal. I'm guessing right now though that it's starting to say red. But I'm skeptical. I'm looking for a spot where it turn around. I thought that I had it there at 23 half and I was wrong. I don't think that invalidates the larger theory. That just means that what I was seeing in that particular spot is not the thing to look for to catch it. It says yes, looking for a short. But they might not go for another long until after the E-mini opens, for all I know. And they do seem to be very much dominated by what the E-mini is doing, surprisingly enough. There's another spot, 22. Very well for traded to get into it, and they're holding it. And ZB not quite getting to where I could like just straight up start shorting it. So let's load up our levels in here. So we need to do the E-mini, getting a little stoppy up there. That might be a spot to start looking for another potential short in the E-mini. Although it is against the trend. My back has not been very stable lately. 33.59.50. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Feeling a little sleepy. Feeling a little sleepy. Guess the baby was up really late last night, you know. Oh, you know what? I'm not getting many clicks, by the way.
Ace Trade says I'm getting in long at 3,359.25.
One's a little
Ace
too
Trade
far
says
away.
no reason other than FOMO.
No reason other than FOMO. Like from the things that I've been looking at in the ES.
Winston's mom says 20 watching now and you are almost at the 1 hour point. Drink something sweet, speculator Seth, and stand up for a second.
So
Everyone
previous
please
bar,
hit like.
33.57.50. And we're
RJ
positive on
Wheels
this
says
hour.
hit.
So, I think the
Masiak
ace might
says
get
hi,
it,
nice
but
dive was S yesterday.
it's not the one that I want to catch. Masiak, yeah, I feel like we really missed out, huh? No, Wynn had a good idea. I'm gonna go and get a drink.
RJ
Okay?
Wheels says I've got 29,140 YM target. Miguel Zapata says Seth, the voice of your assistant that reads chat messages is a software application that belongs to Google or is an application that you manage to find and buy on the internet.
So I made it. I wrote it. And I have it on GitHub. Let me show you the link. GitHub.com. I don't think that I've updated it, the code lately, though. So it might be a little outdated. Only works for YouTube.
Speculator Seth says.
And, you know, there's all the code in there pretty easy.
Ace Trade says it's an actual Chinese girl he keeps chained in his office.
That's not it.
Speculator Seth says, say China, please help me.
Man, I screwed it up. That would have been funny.
Speculator says, please help me.
Please help me. I'll be right back. I can get some Gatorade.
Winston's mom says yes, and it's up to Winston's mom to make sure someone feeds her. Her name is Pearl. Ace Trade says that Winston's mom is in Paris, Buck. Ace Trade says Pearl S. Buck, not Paris Buck. Winston's mom says absolutely, and she does not look like Ingrid Bergman. She is a true Asian. Central Casting finally caught up.
She does not look like Ingrid Bergman. She is a true Asian. Central Casting finally. Wait, who is that? I don't know who that is. Oh. Somebody that is decidedly not Asian.
Rick D says thank God your shiny dome covers that Baby Yoda because it's freaking me out.
Oh my gosh, somebody finally said something about the Baby Yoda on the stream. We even had that up there for like 2 weeks now, and none of you guys on the commenters have mentioned it. Oh, that's so funny, guys.
Winston's mom says I lived in South Korea for a year back in 1984. Those women were so beautiful, and I am smallish, but they made me feel like a giant. The girls were really nice to me.
I want to go to South Korea.
Winston's mom says Mrs. Livingston, Mr. Eddie's father sigh.
It looks like a fun place. Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better. I got a banana too. But I'm just going to put that to the side. You know, I don't want to get anybody too excited. We'll leave that as like a last resort. Okay. Downturn never happened on that bar, and it doesn't look like it's going to come through in this bar either. I'm a little suspicious though, like they're bidding it up so they can kill it later. That, or they're bidding up and they're just going to retrace all of yesterday's move, and could happen.
Masiak says I heard too that South Korea is a great place to live.
Yeah. This looks fun. And I really like Korean barbecue, man. Oh, there's this place here in Salt Lake. I went there. So good. Really, so good.
Ace Trade says ZN is a snooze fest. Are you sure it's a good product? Lol.
Oh, yeah.
Dave A says I knew if I kept showing up I would get to see banana eating stream, finally. Winston's mom says Seoul is really like Manhattan. The police look like stormtroopers from Star Wars. On the escalators you stand 3 or 4 to a step, and at the zoo, there are lines for miles to see the snakes.
So you're right. Tenure doesn't move very much. But that's part of what makes it so great. There's still a lot going on, right? If you're watching the level 2. If you're watching the Dom, there's still a lot to do. All right, so they're ticking around 21.5.
Ace Trade says got a point out of S.
Good job. Okay, that bar gave me the potential short signal. I think I'll wait. If you get a short ace, then take that one. It's a little close.
Ace Trade says it's been stuck at 131. 215 forever.
Oh yeah. Well, not forever. It's only been 5 minutes. If you think that that's forever in the 10-year, man, because there's been times where I've seen it not move a tick in 40 minutes. But that's the whole thing, is you gotta, it's not about when price ticks. There's a lot more going on, right? But the thing that's nice about it is that you can hold really close risk. You only have to have 2 ticks to know that you're wrong, if that. And you don't, it gives you time to think about it.
Cario says good morning.
Hey, good morning. That's a new name, so welcome. I'm gonna get this. This is gonna be an
Ace
interesting
Trades
open
says,
in
oh,
the
I make
E-mini.
money on volatility.
Well, yeah, but it's a little bit more than that, Ace, right? Because you also make money on momentum and trend, right? And the thing about the E-mini is when it gets moving, it gets moving. Right now, I don't think that there's a whole lot of reason for them to trade it because, well, for starters, they already kind of like made too large of a move up. Oh, you see, it's happening. I'm missing it. Okay, right here. Hmm. Okay, I don't want to chase it. Anyways, when you catch trends in the treasuries,
Ace
they're
Trades says
super
agreed,
powerful.
but I only want to trade for a few hours a day. I don't want to have to watch CN while my kids grow old.
And
Lol.
I would only watch it. I would only watch it until 9:30. Like after 9:30 our time, after the London close, there's not really activity. But you can watch it earlier, right? When we start at 6:20 Mountain Time, because that's when it starts trading, and you can trade the 6:20 news, or sorry, the 6:30 news rather. I missed it.
Ace Trades says 2 min.
Yeah, it's probably better that way. No, it's not better that way. I would have gotten the 2 points right there. Need to pay attention a little bit better. At least when it's in a spot like that. But yeah, the main reason why I trade the treasuries is because, I have to go into work. And so I can trade those first 2 hours and you get plenty of volatility. And when there's a reason to trade the treasuries, okay, like it's ADP or whatever it is, they move. They move just as nice as the E-mini. And because you make more per tick on the treasury, like on the ZB, that's $30. If you get the ZB to even go 4 ticks in your favor, which is the average range in ZB, you make $100 one contract for $500 in margin. So that is a different game from the E-mini, right? It's a lot harder to make money off of the noise in the treasury, right? You want to catch the trend and the momentum in the treasury.
Uzi Knesset says don't need much from ol' ZB.
Yeah. You're saying you can make a living off of 2 points a day in ES. You can make a very nice living off of 4 ticks a day in ZB. Yeah, it sucks. I really missed that trade.
Ace Trades says I.
So let's
Ace
let them
Trades
do
says
their
I'll have to
thing.
watch it and learn.
Yeah. But I would Do they have it in NinjaTrader? I'd have to give you something, I think. What's the best way to look at level 2 in Ninja?
Ace Trade says long signal.
Got another long signal.
Ace Trade says it gave me a long at 3,357.
So it never gave a short on that down? It gave me a short. When I got that doji, I don't know if you can see it right here. There's a doji right here. The 725 bar. That was when I should have gone short. Missed it. Now they're long again already, but it's the E-mini open, so we gotta let them do their thing a little bit first. And I actually, we should wait for the news.
I have no idea what is in the black box.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, so there is their DOM, right? Super DOM dynamic is what they got. It's not the best, but for the 10-year, you really want to see those changes. Now that's interesting. Why is it showing me the flickering better than Jigsaw is?
Jake says stonks only go up.
Stonks only go up. Huh. I got some setting.
Ace Trade says it Jake no sun.
They
also go down.
About the update interval wasn't high enough. Maybe it's a more global setting. We were talking about this the other day when people were saying that my data looked slow. That's not it. Market depth throttle, maybe that's it. Oops, wrong one. This will give me something to keep myself distracted so that I don't take a trade, because I really want to take a trade in the E-mini right now, and I do not have...
RJ Wheel says there is going to be a problem when bubble bursts. 11-year run means there's not rookies but also 10-year vets that have never experienced a run down.
Yeah.
Ace Trade says another long S. I'm
concerned about that as well. Like, people don't understand that there are a lot of people...
Knesset says you really want to take a trade? Simit bruh lol.
Yeah, no.
Jake says I think this is only YHE beginning of the bubble.
That just encourages the bad habit. That just encourages the bad habit. No, let's not do that. No, so I remember what the first experience I had with meeting a trader. I used to work at a cyber cafe in downtown Salt Lake, and this guy, he came in and he told me that he would trade stocks, and he said that
Ace
he
Trade
had his
says,
account.
Wow, bad call.
He said he had his account up to $1 million. And then the 2001 crash happened, and he lost everything.
Jake says there is a lot money to earn when stonks go fully retarded only up.
I don't think that people realize that when money is coming out of the market, it is really hard to make money. This is why treasuries are so good. Because if you're in equities and you say, oh, well, I can just short it, you'll be surprised how difficult it is to find a good short in a really bad bear market. Look at them sell. Feels bad. I feel FOMO. Okay. Market throttle. This determines how often the application processes market depth changes. Note that if the inside bidder offer changes,
Ace Trade says
this
short
is processed immediately.
3,353.
Setting of 50 is recommended. Why do I have 250? Okay. Oh, hey. That's nice. I wonder what happens if I change it to a ridiculous number like 7. Can it handle it? Okay, where was this? Oh, I closed it. Close it. Hold on. Hmm. Look at that.
Jake says I bet on SPY all-time high next week.
All-time high next week.
Ace Trade
Maybe.
says gave me 2, but whipped right back up.
That should have filled immediately. It didn't. What if I set this to 1? Market depth throttle of 1.
Uzi Knesset says sellers dumping hard into the median of the last hour at 28.
There was some crazy stuff in
Uzi
there. Wasn't
Knesset
there?
says buyers talking it.
I don't think that Jigsaw is updating its thing as often as it should. They say to use market depth throttle of 50.
Harlequin says I'm not a big fan of this volatility, to be honest. A bit is all right, but that is too much for me.
So I have this at 100. What happens if I change this to 4? Nope, that doesn't really help it.
Masiak says before I start trading I have to first feeling market before. Maybe it's stupid, but this give me profit.
It's interesting that if the inside bidder offer changes, it processes it immediately. I feel like that there's another setting somewhere that I'm missing. We've been through this so many times and we weren't able to get it to change. I am noticing a slight difference with it
Ace
being at
Trade
50.
says yeah, feelings are a lousy indicator. Trade what you see, not what you think.
Well, I really feel like I want to sell this shit. But we've got PMI news in 5 minutes, so I just don't see the reward in it participating at this moment. Did go down like I wanted it to, but just it didn't. Even if I decided to trade the open, it didn't really give me the kind of setup that I would want. So kind of sucks.
Ace Trades says, Seth, do you know how to cancel a target without canceling the stop? In Sierra, you click on the target and it goes away, but the protective stop stays there.
That usually, so it depends on how it's set up, I think. So if we have the super dom, and I think that when you do your ATM strategy, maybe they don't, maybe they're automatically OCO. I think that they're automatically
Uzi Knesset
OCO.
says closed long from 24 at 29.
I don't really know a whole lot about the entering the orders in the NinjaTrader DOM. I would have to click in and to actually do it, and I don't really want to do that at the moment. Oh, did I just close that again? Anyways. Parameter settings.
Ace Trade says that is what I thought. It was always connected to each other OCO.
Yeah. I think there's probably a way to do it. Like you might have to. Why do I keep closing it, by the way? Super DOM. I mean, there's a reason their DOM is not very good. That's why I use Jigsaw for that part. Nope, I don't see it on any of those. Treasuries moving up.
Ace Trade says, wow, look at that ZN move.
Yeah. When it goes. Well, 2 ticks.
Uzi Knesset says it's raining indices again.
Where did I put my order in? Was like somewhere at 23.
John Smith says just put it in again really fast without the OCO.
Yeah, I would just like cancel them and then put the other one in. I mean, 24.5's okay. But let's just wait. We got 2 minutes. Let's be patient and let's check in here. Depth filter. Snapshot. Alert column. Update interval. Preset interval is 200. And which one is update interval prints? How many prints to the current trades column we allow between intervals?
Live Action says tip in volatility a tick chart will show micro balances algos are keying off of that you want see with a 1-minute chart. Live Action says the other day I mentioned you can double an account with the major futures versus Bitcoin and penny stocks. Yesterday was a perfect example.
30 seconds.
Masiak says at ACE Trades I trade like you wrote but my feeling equals experience. I don't use any indicator, only raw chart and DOM.
I'm going to make this 10. And be done with it. Okay, here's the poll. You watch the 10-year on this, Ace. Okay, we're looking for
Ace Trade says at Masiak, well, good luck with sending more money to your broker, bro.
Look at that. Oh, we missed it. Oh, well. We buy 27? Sure. Actually, we could.
Uzi Knesset says there's your mortgage payment.
Yeah. Right?
Winston's mom says you're in the thick of things soon, but at some point, let's talk about the debates. There were so many moments I knew you would have something to say about. Lol.
Oh, you should watch yesterday's video, Win.
Live Action says at Masiak me too and I make $$ every day.
Okay, so we got a reading of 49 for the composite PMI, 49.6 versus previous 53.3.
Winston's mom says okay.
49.4 for flash services, and then the manufacturing PMI was 50.8.
Harlequin says lol the news. Only
So
2 stars on investing, but holy shit. Big
So-
moves in Amini and gold.
Some of those numbers were negative. I mean, some of those numbers indicated contraction. Okay. Get gone.
Ace Trade says another short S3341.
Okay.
Winston's mom says no sexy robot voice. I said, okay. Ace Trade says I'm still short from 3,353.75.
I'm having a hard time seeing a spot that I can catch. In ES, it's probably too fast. I should probably let it calm down.
Uzi Knesset says take that shit, bruh.
I think I should just sell it there. Oh, this 43
Masiak
was
says
okay.
ACE trades nice GJ.
Yeah, the short in the ES was great. 53. Good grief. Oh, the stonks going down. Treasury's not bidding up another step. Bot. I see a level break set up. Come on. Come to Papa. Come on. Ah, boo.
Ace Trade says I don't know what a GJ is, but thanks.
Good job. No, I feel so FOMO on ES. Oh, man. I mean, they gave me a good pullback, but I didn't.
Masiak says good job.
Ugh. Ugh.
Ace Trade says oh, thank you.
There we go. There we go. 41. Okay.
Ace Trade says waiting to call along for Seth's Wonder Kid, the ZN.
Yeah, so let's see where they get. So at 31, there's some real volume trading there. They're having a hard time
Winston's
holding
mom
that
says
price.
G.I. Joe government issued job.
And I got out at what?
Winston's mom says government issued Joe.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got out at 31. They're going to want to trade 132 even. They always trade a lot of volume at those even numbers. Oh man, when I said 41, I was like, that's all they're going to go. And I don't know if that's actually a safe short, but it was. Well. Patience, Seth. Plenty of activity here. We could probably catch any one of these spots and make or lose money. Okay. So sellers overextending a little bit there, having some trouble pulling back to 38. Those numbers were not good. They weren't awful. So again, market manufacturing PMI 50.8 versus an estimated 51.5. So under expectations. Composite PMI flash was 49.6 and services PMI flash was 49.4 versus an estimate of 53. So you're seeing contraction And it's particularly concerning that you're seeing contraction in services. Okay, so they got over 41 that time, and we're coming back. 42.25 is kind of our line in the sand. Okay. This might be a hard bounce. Ouch. Pretty aggressive push down, but they seem to be holding it okay. Still trading
Ace
way too
Trade says
wild.
come on, drop. Baby needs new basketball uniform.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, 41's not an awful price. I'm still just not feeling it.
Uzi Knesset says pretty sure the Taliban may have just won the war in Afghanistan lol.
Okay.
Ace Trade says at Uzi Knesset they can have it. It's now 3rd century.
Sorry, I had a little frame drop there. You know what? Now that we're doing all this stuff, let's open up the performance here and just check what we're doing on the CPU and everything.
Ace Trade says where before the war it was 7th century. Stone Age. Uzi Knesset says I guess the spoils of that war finally ran out lol.
Okay. It's another strong buy impulse coming in there, but again at 41 they start to struggle.
Ace Trade says can't believe I have not got a long signal in ZN. Hit side of computer.
No, you got the impulse, it's gonna chill off for a bit. In fact, it might even come back a little bit. Like they might move back down to like 28, 27 or so, depending on what the E-mini does here. It's bounced here twice, but they're not making a higher high. Not yet. Okay.
Ace Trade says how do you even say these prices? 131.275? I feel like I'm giving latitude and longitude.
Yeah, 131 and 30. Or 30 half. 31. 31 half. Because, so do you see here in ZB, they're going by 1. It goes 1 to 31 and then it restarts because they're divided by 30 seconds, right? In the 10-year, they go increments half of that. So but instead of going between 1 and 64, because it really is 64, so we do it in 30, we do it in still in 32s, but halves of 32s, so that it kind of correlates with the numbers correlate roughly with CB. So then you get 30 half, 31, 31 half. And then it goes up to 132 even. 132 0 half, 132 1, 131, 132 1 half, okay? And then the 5-year is half of that. So this one goes in quarters. 10, 10 quarter, 10 half, 10 3/4. I like to call it 3/4 pack because it's Pac-Man, right? 3/4 is like a Pac-Man. It's a 3/4 pack. So 10 pack, 11, 12. Or sorry, 11 quarter, 11 half, 11 pack, 12. Okay, there they push up and an up bar. I think that there could be a little bit more in this buy. So this is just where I say in the 10-year, you really want to be able
Winston's
to
mom
watch
says
the
Ace
level 2
Trades.
and
I
the
did a
volume.
quick Google and you just identified Orlando Airport. Winston's mom says KORL.
So the volume activity level has not calmed down yet. And I think that they're going to get there. And then maybe the Treasury might buy again. Man, that was a crazy trade. I missed I had to chase it and I still got 8 ticks.
Ace Trades says at Winston's mom, great. I want some fresh orange juice. Ace Trades says long signal Amini.
Okay.
Masiak says I missed it too.
It was crazy. I mean, you could have, if you had gotten
Ace
in
Trade
right on the
says
news,
short
is 25.
131.280.
That was a 16 tick move. I'd be careful about the long in the ES, right? Because
Winston's mom says I'm out of orange juice, but honestly I am not making this up. I am eating a grapefruit right now.
So the question is just how deep of a pullback can the E-mini make? Like, if they can't get back above 48, that's super bearish. I'm honestly thinking about taking this spot right here. We'll try it.
Masiak says me to if in only for short on S for now. Rick D says seek help Winston. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom all our stores are out of fresh food and vegetables. We all just have to eat frozen potatoes and carrots the animals have picked over. Old women fight for last year's onions.
I don't know about that one right there. Already for against me, the way I got filled was bad. Yeah. Okay. Too volatile. What the hell? Do you see that? I pulled my order and there was like 10 pulled with me.
Winston's mom says, what will you do this summer when the potatoes will not stay frozen and the young women look like carrots?
The young women look like carrots? What? Okay, here's a spot that you can potentially buy in the treasury. 28. 28 half. It's just nice and balanced there. Activity levels relatively low.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, by then we will have eaten all the animals, the children will fill their bellies with rocks to fill full. Winston's mom says my niece had a craving for carrots when she was very little and she ate so many carrots her nose turned orange.
What?
Or that's how my sister explains the photographs.
What?
Masiak says nice Seth. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, but that is when the crickets show up, so we feast on them. Masiak says SL on break even. Winston's mom says Ace Trade stone soup needs carrots. Grok.
Okay, sweet. I'm happy
Live
with that
Action
one.
says RTY new LOD.
So I got my $10. Should I be satisfied with that? Say sure. Paid my commissions too.
Masiak says GJ.
So I'm hearing you, baby. Let's go and see if they need help, okay? Since I took that one and I'm concerned about overtrading here, so let's go check.
Winston's mom says in Jungian typology the cricket Jimmy and Pinocchio represents our moral compass, our companion on the hero's journey. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom, I make stone soup all the time, but to make it sound better, I call it leftover soup. Ace Trade says bring that kid in the room.
All right.
Ace Trade says creepy Yoda. I bet if you watch it enough, it moves.
Bring that kid in the room. Yeah, the Yoda is creepy. I had him, the first day I had him over here, like.
Winston's mom says I spelled Jimmy because my Chrome keeps autocorrecting the correct spelling. Ace Trades my children called these daddy dinners and everyone loves those meals best. Lol. Ace Trades says yay baby. Winston's mom says oh.
Let me put my headphones on. So I apologize if he starts crying because that's probably not too helpful if you're trying to focus, but if he does, I just mute
Winston's
it, right?
mom says not oh, but oh.
Oh. So I wish it was easier to move my camera so I could just focus the camera on him. Well, I could stand up. You know what? I don't really need that.
Winston's mom says he's beautiful Seth. Winston's mom says he has more hair than you do.
He does.
Ace Trade says I wish we had smell vision. I bet he smells like sweet baby lotion and sunshine.
He just smells like newborn. We don't got anything on him. I was reading this thing that parents really like the smell of their newborn children, and I was like, that sounds kind of weird. But he smells good. Move the microphone like this. There we go. That's better. Getting 43 to 41. It does look like I could have gotten double that, but
Ace Trade
I'm okay
says,
with
yeah,
it.
that kid needs to be kissed down in the neck. Get
Kid
her
needs to
done.
be kissed down the neck.
Live Action says when he grows up he will tell his friends he's been trading before he could walk and video will prove it.
Yeah, right. He can't really see yet, though. So I'm going to bet that when he can see, when they're in that spot where they can see, but it's still a little blurry and they like, high contrast stuff, I think he'll like looking at it. But for now, he'll just kind of look at your face and you can tell that he can't really see very well. Uh-oh, are we getting hiccups?
Ace Trade says don't think, just do it. Kiss that baby. Winston's mom says you should buy one of those daddy vests that hold the baby. Like a Cherokee papoose sling, but you can put it in the front or the back.
I have something like
Leaves
that.
you hands free.
Wonder if we washed it yet. I'm gonna be very quiet and whisper because he looks a little uncomfortable. He looks a little fussy. Oh, you want food, don't you? He's gonna start doing this thing where he looks at me with disdain. Like he's having dreams, like he's upset, like he's having dreams where he wants to feed, but he's not getting food.
Winston's mom says, is he gassy? Perhaps you could massage his tummy or some other spots to release some pressure.
Probably not. It's about feeding time though. But I decided to take him because mom needs to get the other kids ready for school. And I made my money. I mean, obviously there's so much more opportunity in this market, but this market kind of scares me a little bit because
Winston's mom says he's listening to you.
He's listening to me. Yeah, he can hear me, and he doesn't like it when I'm too
Ace Trade
loud.
says we are all gassy. Are you going to rub our tummies?
But this market, like it looks like a market with a lot of opportunity that could really run. But for now, it's just being really volatile, and that makes me really nervous. And so I think I'm okay with just taking, $10 net and leaving it at that. Because if it's really going to be like this, there's going to be plenty of opportunity next week, and we'd be better off trading those instead of on a volatile Friday. Hot, Asher. He's like, oh yeah, yes, very much so, Seth.
Alex Niami says it's pretty choppy and whimsical. I'm staying on the sidelines.
Whimsical, I like that. Whimsical. Like I look at that action, and especially in the micro ES, because you notice it in some spots. The micro ES is moving more than the regular ES. I'm like, there's all of the retail traders over trading it. You don't want to be like those guys. They overtrade it and they lose money after. So you gotta know when to pick your spots and when to stay on the sidelines. Yes. You don't understand. No, because if sometimes there are places where if you're going to hold 4 ticks of risk and it's moving 16 ticks at a time, your stop's going to get hit one way or another, and so it's not a very good spot to trade. He's like, he's really sleepy, but I think he wants to be awake.
Winston's mom says I can't think of anything funny to reply to. Tummy, darn it.
Record?
I know a song
really?
though. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love in my tummy and I feel like loving you.
Man, that 30-year. Look at her go. The 10-year is actually lagging a little bit. Hey, what is our 2 and 10-year spread doing? That's ugly. You see that? The line down at the
Ace Trade
bottom?
says should have taken my couple ticks in the ZN. Winston's mom says that's an
That's
old song, A Loving
inversion.
Spoonful, maybe?
I should have taken my couple of ticks. How many ticks did you get? So, for me, just think like when you think in ES, 8 ticks is like it's easy to get. Well, it's not easy, but you can get 8 ticks, and that's the average range. So when you think 8 ticks in the E-mini, think 4 ticks in ZN. If you get 8 ticks in ZN, you've got a good trade, and I usually take profit at 8. It's hard to get more than 8.
Ace Trade says I covered the trade and got stopped out.
16, I get 16 sometimes. 24, if you get 24, you absolutely take the profit. See, he can hear me talking in his sleep and he doesn't like it. He's like, oh, God, I'm sleeping. Can you guys see the facial expressions? I don't know if you can.
Ace Trade says did that baby just say my name? I think he did. Winston's mom says did you grow up around children, Seth? I was not interested in babies and was a rather nervous mom and there weren't a lot of women around me to ask for
I
advice.
had a baby brother, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. Like he's going for my boobs.
Ace Trade says Asher, wake up and play. Live Action says 6C just broke key overhead, glad I didn't short today. Alex Niami says 24 ticks on ZN would be an insane trade, that's more than the average daily range.
Yeah. I've done stats, and there you actually can catch more than 24 ticks on a rotation. It's happened, but the probability at 24 ticks, there's a huge drop in probability after 24. And there's a big drop at 16. So like I said, like if you catch 8, 16, 24, like those, you should be thinking about taking profits. Now that said, the treasuries are kind of bidding back up and look like maybe they'll take another run.
Live Action says Seth, what name you decide on for your son?
Asher. His name is Asher. We'll minimize this.
Ace Trade says another short signal S.
Another short signal? What's this?
Ace Trade says 3,339. Ace Trade says and it pops right back up.
Come on.
What is the deal? Alex
Just a
Niami
little
says
bit
best
more,
to just take
please.
profits when the trade stops working out or you'd rather be on the other side of it.
Yeah. Sweet.
Live Action says yesterday really had some rotation. Ace Trade says I'm still short from 3,353.
He always catches those and lets them run, and they're always the ones that I'm too afraid to take. Isn't that funny? Oh, look at the treasury go.
Masiak says S again rebound.
What I see right now, like they're very much inside. So
Ace Trade says that was it again. He said ace.
oh, you're saying ace. Is that what you're saying? I don't think he can speak yet. Don't ruin it. We want his first words to be bye bye bye. He's dreaming about boobs. Can you see it in his face? He's dreaming about boobs. Hey, that short that I caught, hey, it was pretty damn good.
Ace Trade says he is dreaming of the CME and bears and bulls.
He is
RJ
dreaming of
Wheels
the
says Bernie
CME and bulls
presidency
and
his first
bears.
words better be sell sell.
Yeah, the Bernie president. If Bernie becomes president,
Ace Trade says now
I'll
we are
work
all
on
thinking
that.
about boobs. Thanks.
Now we're thinking about boobs. No, I understand. Her boobs are mom's boobs are great. Yeah.
Winston's mom says speculator Seth in psychology we call this projection. Now who is dreaming of boobs? Has someone been replaced by his son?
I have been replaced. I have been. The boobs are always taken, and the other parts are stitched up right now. That was a little cross. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that one. Even he is trading a really tight range now. I'm surprised they've been able to hold this for as long as they have.
Winston's mom says temporarily and trust me, we like your time better than his time on us, blush. Masiak says yay.
He's trying to open his eyes. I'll go be quiet so he'll
RJ Wheel says unsubscribing.
RG Will says when subscribing. Win. Oh my gosh. My arm's getting a little tired now. Let me rest
Winston's mom says RJ would you rather talk ferret? I can.
it. Would you rather talk ferret? I think he was implying that I was being too crass. He was joking because he probably wasn't too offended by it. The freaking baby Yoda in the background, it really does like blend in. Like you really wouldn't
RJ
notice
Wheel
it.
says joking.
Okay, look at the volume of 132 even 3722. How big of an iceberg do you think is up there?
Ace Trade says long ZN signal.
Oh really? At 132 even?
Ace Trade says I'm long 132.000.
Okay.
Winston's mom says have you been on Reddit's dad jokes
Yes.
subreddit? A friend of mine when I first arrived there's foul Olamike and if you know him, please tell him I said hi. I liked Reddit.
No. You're not supposed to share people's Reddit name. No. Everybody wants to be anonymous there. Oh, you see that 31.5? So that right there is a really good example, Ace, of why I like to look at the DOM, right? Because, you could have gotten an extra tick or two. But a 10K at 31.5 to
Alex
fail,
Niemi
that's
says
not
I almost
a good
like it for a long
sign.
but UB isn't
But I
trading up
think
so the
that they
long is
can
negated
regain
for
it and
me.
we can move up. Yeah. This is where you'll find the 10-year is really efficient. So a lot of technical analysis things that work on ES don't work on CN. But I think we'll get above 132. But see that one, we're down 3 ticks from that. So that's kind of like, we can catch it better than that. Let's see if down here they give us another one. Okay, so 30 half maybe. 30 half. Yeah, right there. In fact, I'll take it on sim. No, but I don't like 30 pulling.
Alex Niemi says short is the play here.
It's not working.
Masiak says he think S goes on north.
Uh-oh. Hope we're not getting hiccups. And they took me out. Oof. Yeah, ES does really look like it's recovering, doesn't it?
Live Action says I missed the room yesterday. I was too busy managing an upside down trade. Anyone catch that Munder sell off?
Oh, look at that. So the E-mini is recovering. The treasury bonds are moving up.
Winston's mom says how did you finally decide on his name? Where did Asher come from? I really like that name. William Asher was a big producer married to Elizabeth Ashley Bewitched.
I think it was just the most talked about name, and at that point we were just like, let's just pick a freaking name already. So they hit 29.5 and they weren't able to clear it. That's interesting. That's not good.
Winston's mom says happy, blessed.
Yep. And because it kind of means that you're lucky. So it was hard getting him out. He didn't come out easily. Thank you. It was a little rough. He did not want to come out. But he has learned that it is not so bad out here.
Rick D says C period single ticks on ZN down at 26 FYI.
Yeah, this is a sim trade. I was just seeing if we could find a spot that would hold from order flow, but it kind of feels like that the trend is too much against us at the moment. You can see the spot that I caught isn't bad, but whether or not we'll actually, what the probability of it turning here is, doesn't look like super great. Okay, that's good. That's really good.
Winston's mom says Jacob said, most blessed of sons is Asher, let him be favored by his brothers, and let him bathe his feet in oil. You should write that down and tell his wife when the time comes.
Oh, we looked up the stuff.
Winston's mom says tell her she will need to rub his feet. Who doesn't love a foot rub?
We have to rub his feet in oil. Okay. Can we get an uptick, please? Thank you, sir. Oh, somebody hit into 30.5. That sucks. He's probably somebody stop out and catch slippage on that one.
Winston's mom says for the next 7 years he is a tiny tape recorder and will record everything you say. You will learn what you said when you begin to teach him to drive, giggle.
Oh. Okay, they're holding a good bid at 30 now. If this does really move, we've got to take where that iceberg was. So there's a stack at 29.5. I like to see a stack on my price, but the way that it's been moving lately, that we should also be a little suspicious about it. You mini giving me a potential short?
Winston's mom says 29 watching now. Please hit like for the baby or because it's Friday. Speculator Seth has a goal of around 20 likes now but is happy to have the affirmation and validation. Lol.
How many do we have right now? 8. Let's see how many we get. I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, we don't have to be huge. I'm pretty happy with the stream. You guys are all great, but it sure is fun to see how far we can push it, you know? The chase is half the fun. Okay. Flip. Yes. Good. So when I say flip, that means that the bid is now more on the bid than there is on the offer. Flip again and down tick.
Winston's mom says it's funny to see the celebrities show up on YouTube. Deepak Chopra is on now and on Oprah. He's all dignified on YouTube. His hair is messy and he squints. Am I live? He's learning and getting likes.
When celebrities show up on TikTok, everybody hates it. Like, oh, we're celebrities. We're on TikTok to see people that aren't celebrities. Like, that's the whole point, is to make non-famous people famous. Oh, that was bad.
Winston's mom says the psychics get the most channel likes based on my wandering YouTube, but there are creators banding together to complain and talk class action suits against YouTube.
Yeah, well, we're always all upset at YouTube. There's always a
Alex
reason to
Niemi says
be
short
mad at
ZB at
YouTube. You're
10.
short, ZB, huh? Well, I'm not particularly happy with what I'm seeing at 29.5. They're not final yet. Okay, but see, they can't seem to hold 30. Like, that should have been an easy take for them. Why are you not bidding 30?
Winston's mom says the creators have to deal with trolls and the strikes which are unfair because there is no way to appeal a personal strike that is subjective or vindictive.
Yeah. I've never had that problem, but it definitely happens. I don't feel like that YouTube's review system is very fair because you don't even, like I reported videos that were obvious bullying and the videos are still there. I think maybe the guy got a strike, but like I don't know. So it's like you report it and it just goes down this black hole. And if you're a victim, it just makes you feel more powerless. There's an iceberg there at 30. Okay. Well, they finally hold a bid at 30. And the E-mini did take a good step down there. Oh yeah. That's good.
Winston's mom says, have you made it to the gym yet? Since the baby was born?
Have not. I've been looking to buy some weights. I would really like to buy some used ones, but there's not a whole lot of used bumper plates around, so I may just have to buy a new set on Rogue Fitness or something. So we'll see if, after we pay all the hospital bills, I'll need about $1,000. So if I have $1,000 left, then I'll start the home garage gym.
Rick D says, do ZN options expires at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time like index futures, S,
No.
NQ, etc.? OI at 132 is high, of course don't know if bought or sold.
Alex, that was
Alex
I thought
Niemi
that
says
was
it didn't work
a
2T.
good trade still. You
Winston's
had a
mom
lot of
says, have you
things in your
checked out your
favor,
local Facebook
but it was a real
marketplace
turning
page?
point. It was 50-50. Yeah, I've checked my local Facebook marketplace. So Rick D, the options pit in the treasuries ends at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Got that? 3 o'clock Eastern time, I believe it is. The options pit in the treasuries closes. And that is when you see the highest volume in the treasuries. So if you're interested in the options, particularly in treasuries, I would look at that time.
Rick D says, okay, thanks.
Yep. You see crazy stuff happen at that time. That's where you'll see like bids and offers of like 30,000 sometimes. It's crazy.
Winston's mom says, I wonder if you could rent some weights. I might think a gym would have a rental program or rent to buy sort of thing.
I don't know. Never heard of that. The thing is that the bumper plates is a very specialized thing. Not a, it's getting more popular, but So I'm just noticing here that to make it move up, they had to push it. They weren't able to just like pull the offers away and let it come up, So they might have some trouble getting above 132 even, especially if the E-mini doesn't go and make a new low here. But we'll see. They sure are threatening it. Oh, don't like that. I should probably. So that's kind of a little bit of a warning to me that I might be pushing this too far. Let's see if this offer at 31 pulls. Okay, yeah, it does. think we're okay.
Winston's mom says when we were building a home, it took forever and we had to move several times thinking the construction would be completed. I was surprised at what one can rent.
Yeah. Well, the big problem with weights is they're heavy, and transporting them. So with Rogue Fitness, you it's usually something where like if you buy enough of them, then you get free shipping because you don't want to pay for the shipping. Like the shipping alone can be like $500. It's crazy. But I was looking the other day because also bars they have bars that like have defects on them. I might buy one of those because the defects that will cause a bar to be put in their scrapyard um, are pretty inconsequential to me. Come on, let's buy that 132 even. Dun, 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 dun. It's so close, but people aren't hitting into it. They're gonna have to stack a bit to convince them. Oh, maybe a level break. So if I see a lot of absorption on the bid right up at the high, that's a indication that they're gonna try and pull the rug out. Oh, did you see that? It was so easy to get filled at 132. So they might just completely pull it and move up another 4 ticks. Let's see.
Masiak says nice. Winston's
Yeah,
mom
thank
says
you.
the thrift stores might carry gym equipment. Goodwill Salvation Army, you can look online. Most of those
Oh, yeah.
stores now upload their current inventory.
I check like my
Masiak says
classifieds
GJ.
every day. I check the classifieds like every day. Yeah. That looks like continuation. That was kind of more of a demonstration trade. So I hope that Ace caught why I took the trades that I did. Just because if we're gonna try and apply his stuff to the treasury, that would be one thing. Having seen an iceberg at 132 before, that would make us think maybe we don't want to take that one because there's always an iceberg reduces the probability of them going through that price. That's why now that we've come up here again and nothing interesting happened at 132, it was very easy to make that price go bid. I'm thinking that they could move up quite a bit more. Hot Asher. They're going to keep going. Because those Japanese, they want all the bonds. Yes, that's where they're all coming from. It's kind of weird to see 132 again. I remember when the treasuries were 132. When was that? Well, in
Live
August.
Action says you hear so many claim their stops are hunted and taken out. 2 points are the common stop. Nothing wrong with grabbing 2 points on break.
Yes, that's right. July of 2016, when I was like, this may be the lowest we ever see interest rates ever again. And we're right back up there. My gosh, guys. There it goes. Panic. Market panic continues as the equity indexes break 335. Gadoosh. That's gonna run. Oh, Ace, you must be a happy man right now.
Ace Trades says got another long on ZB at 132.000, but I was gone.
Yeah. So he cut it at 132. Oh, that looks so nice. We really should have let that one run. Now we shouldn't have. You know what? Because if we were taking it as a live, we would have to think about getting out because I got to go to work soon. In fact, I should generate my charts.
Live Action says yesterday I was averaging in short into the bid on NQ off Apple report of bad forecast due to coronavirus. Broker almost closed me out when bottom fell out.
Really? Oh, that is so infuriating, right? When you have a good trade going on and the broker takes you out of it. Ooh.
Ace Trades says short signal 3,335.50.
Ooh, really? Oh, we're past a little late on that one. When you look at the last short that I took in ES, we did move up higher, but then after that, then it was a good short. I suppose that another short would have made sense, but it's really hard to see where it would have been a good spot to try and take it.
Ace Trades says at Live Action, how would you know you almost got closed out? Ace Trades says I'm still in from way back up there.
So funny. It's always the ones that I'm not in. What's with that? I guess because I'm avoiding the areas that make me nervous. Those are going to be the places that can have the biggest payoff, right? Sure is a good move.
Winston's mom says Ace Trades when speculator Seth goes off to work. Who do you hang out with online? Do you move to another channel or do your daily routines around the house? Live Action says I have an arrangement for trade to be closed automatically if down X amount to protect account from disaster.
Oh, okay.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom I go run, work out and then yes, chores. Today is dance with the vacuum day. Ace Trade says at Live Action makes sense. Ace Trade says at Winston's mom except I am now baby hungry, so I think I'll go volunteer at the NICU. Masiak says S goes first or ZN or there is no rule?
Just come over. You just tell me when you want to come over. We're not doing anything. You can come and visit. You hear that noise he's making? Like
Ace
he's
Trade
a balloon
says at Masiak,
deflating.
No rule.
Yes goes first or ZN, or is there no rule? I would say there's no rule. It kind of depends. But when somebody's preparing a move, like yesterday, you usually
Winston's
see
mom
it in
says
ZN
vacuuming is my
first.
least
And that's what
favorite
we
thing to
saw
do
was
around
the
the
ZN
house.
was bidding up
It
super
was
crazy,
fun when
and
I
then
had all
later
5
in the
young
day the
healthy free
equity
roam
indexes
ferrets because
fell.
they went insane. Keller was deaf and didn't freak out though.
Okay, mommy's back, so I'm going to pass him off so that we can write our cryptocurrency notes and close things out. Okay.
Winston's mom says, how is mommy feeling?
She seems to be doing pretty good. She's still not going to be like going on
Ace
long
Trade
walks or
says so
anything.
on the ZN. My PNL says 0.060. What does that mean as far as dollar?
So you took it at 132, right? So you've made $128 per contract so far. It sucks. So you're talking about a Ninja Trader, huh? Oh, how do you do it? I think that you can come in here in accounts, no, positions and properties. I don't know where to do it. There's a way to change how the P&L is showed so that you can
Ace
do it
Trade
by
says
ticks
I'm
or
long at
whatever.
131.305.
Oh, so even better. So you're 1, 2, well, this is 8 plus 3. So you're at 186 or something like that. If you get 16, then that's I'm sorry, 16 is $250, right? So 30 half, 1, 2, 3. So if you can
Masiak
get
says I have only CME signal maybe is time to buy
5,
CBOT too.
if you can get 5, then you'd have 250. That's an amazing day.
Winston's mom says nice way to begin a weekend. Ace Trades, I wish you all happy weekending, stay safe, and everyone please hit like before speculator Seth finishes up for the day. Bye gentlemen of day trading, see you later.
What was that? That was crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh man, you know, there was something important that I should have said there, Ace. Again, if you get 8 ticks, you've got to think about taking it off. You've got to think about taking it off. If you get 4 ticks, you should think about taking it off. Man. Well, I suppose that they could totally continue move back up, but I don't know what that was. That reacted like news. Sounds like somebody's getting their diaper changed. Okay, so let's go check out the Bitcoin here really quick. Man, Man, alive, 132 even? Again. Well, the E-mini did turn there. Yeah, lungs might get hurt here. I'm wondering how many are caught. So I think there probably is a good number of them. I hope that you took I hope that you took the profit somewhere in there on the 10-year one. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen it come back 8 ticks so quickly. Wow. Yeah. That was insane, 8 ticks against it, just like that. That 5-minute candle is like an ES candle, yeah. I mean, we could still try and find a spot to buy it again, but only if the E-mini's route is going to continue. I'm not so sure that they can do it. And something happened there. Something definitely happened there. I don't know what that was about. Donald Trump is tweeting stuff, but it didn't look like that was part of it. Oh, now I see all the tweets about the reduction in violence in Afghanistan. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, I missed that my thing had stopped. Okay, Ace says that his stop was at 132.005. Good deal. Yeah, in the 10-year, you can literally trail your stop like 2 ticks or 1 tick. Like if I was long, I could literally have my stop right here. Especially if you have a volume stop. So you can play it tight. That's the advantage of it. Oh, I missed Win leaving. Should close this because it's gonna start reading stuff here. Maybe I should explain the blip bot booze. I heard sexy robot voice get a warped sound during a full comment, so I played with it when I thought Seth also heard it. I'm not so sure anyone heard it. Might have just been a an encoding glitch. Hold draft horses. Anthony, I just turned on your stream. This has been a wild morning. Had to get out of ES. I can't trade volatility in that market. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, I actually took 2 trades in one in the E-mini, but I waited for areas where it had calmed down, and I totally feel you. I feel like that in the E-mini, you have to catch it early where you can catch a really good risk spot and let it run. Because if you try and get in the middle of that thing, you just get diced up. especially in sells. Like I said, when the money's coming out of the market, you'll be surprised how difficult it is to catch that short that looks so easy on the longer term time frame chart, right? But this is where I'm saying, like, when that happens, where does the money go? When the money is coming out of the equity markets, that means it's going to be harder to make money trading futures. Where does the money go? That's why you want to be able to trade treasuries, folks. Because those buys are easy. It's extremely unusual for them to come back that much in the 10-year. Any other day, they would have continued on to 05. I don't know what happened that caused that move. That was incredibly weird. But thank you for saying hi, Anthony. I'm about to leave here, so. And Rick D says possible roll. I don't know what that was. That sell was crazy. I don't know what that was. Somebody that wanted to turn it, I guess. Seth, what was the trigger for this trade on ZN? Yes, good question. I don't remember really. No, I do remember. So when I take a trade like that, what I'm doing is I already have a bias, which can be problematic, but I already have a bias. I know that the path of least resistance is up, and that if there's any chance of the E-mini going lower, then the treasuries are going to bid back up. And so when I'm watching the tape, I'm really looking more for a dead spot. Okay. So like one of these prices, like 30.5, is what it looks like it is right now. Yeah, 30.5. You see how there's only 500 bid there, and then they trade down, and okay, now they offer 1,000, 600 to 1,000. And there's a chance that they're going to hit back up, and it's going to tick back up, and it's going to go back and forth there a bit. Like that, right? That's the spot. Or it can be a spot. So what that tells you is that price is balanced. So if it ticks down to 30 and it's still kind of hesitant, then that's a place that I can take long. Because if I know that the overall pressure is up, the chances of that area holding are a lot higher. And so that's how you end up with these trades where it's completely dead and you take it and it can't even go a tick against you. Because you're basically running into the area where it's balanced and sellers can't push the price anymore. So that's why I took it. But I only took it because I knew based off of the context, like we had a crazy day yesterday and we were having a crazy day today, and all of the data that came out was bad, and it's a Friday, which, you know, when crazy stuff happens on Friday, that makes it more crazy. Then I knew that there was a good chance that I could still catch some long stuff. But I don't know. If I hadn't have taken my stuff at 132 even and I let it run, I still would have taken 8 ticks, right? If I hadn't taken it off on the 8 ticks, I think it would have come all the way back on me, and I would be feeling really bad right now, because for it to come back that far and that quickly in the treasuries is so unusual. It's so unusual, and I really can't explain what happened there, but that was something that we should really remember. In fact, let's just put right up here. I'm going to put it, well, let's see if we can, if I make this bigger, can I see it? I can't. It's too far back now. Well, I'm just going to put a note in here. What the fuck? Because something crazy happened there. Okay. So anyways, thank you guys. 11 likes is good. Let's pick a name for this. Market panic continues. after bad PMI data. Got some good trades. Hey, Gary, there you are. We're all just saying, where's Gary? You must be making too much money in the short on oil right now to have time for us. That's what we thought. I did good today. I only took those two, right? Yeah. Let's see if with everything. So I had these two losers, but that one cancels out that loser, and then I make that. And then I had my two. Then if I filter down to the E-mini trades, those two E-mini trades, and a loser there, but this kind of what canceled that one out and made up the commission. So I think that in the end it ends up being like $18, $18.75, something like that. Yeah, it's 22.50 minus 3.75. So, anyways, so good day. I think that next week could be good trading. We really didn't expect to see a whole lot of anything interesting happening this week, so we're lucky. We got some volatility. Crazy stuff. And I hope you enjoyed watching the baby again. I enjoyed holding him. I don't know what else to say. I don't feel like excited or anything, but I just feel like calmly positive about today. And just really grateful that we have such a great community and that things are going well right now. So, and that things are going great for me too, because, I have a baby, which took me 10 years to have a baby. Took me 10 years of hard work to get a baby. And I had to get remarried in that time span too. So, anyways, enough about me. I will see you guys on Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.